Hi, I'm Mark Edwards. Welcome to Travelogue and welcome to Qingdao. It's become almost unbearably hot in Beijing over the last couple of days, so we thought why not pop over to a place where the temperatures are significantly lower. It's the 4th largest seaport in China, as well as being a modern, thriving city. I've been told there's a whole plethora of things to do besides just taking in the sea breeze. So let's get started. Qingdao's International Marina and Olympic Sailing Centre is located on the site of the former Beihai Dockyard on Fushan Bay, adjoining the May 4th Square. With an urban population of over 3 million people, you'll find that around these parts it never feels crowded. And there's no quieter place than the waters of the vast Yellow Sea. With a climate that's almost perfect for sailing, it comes as no surprise to find that the sport in Qingdao is really on the up. Never had to do that before on a bus. This area has been completely revamped, making it a pristine and fun luxury port and entertainment venue. Considering all the water around here, it's no surprise that the authorities are playing up its many uses, whether it be for speedboating, yachting, sailing, or even water busing. I'm sure that's not something you hear of every day. It's an experience you can dive right into. At a cost of just over $10 for a 45-minute trip, you can enjoy a quick tour of the marina by bus, and then a tour of the harbour by boat, with something called the Adventure Duck being the complete 2-in-1 package. One of the things that really jumps out at you as you sit aboard your duck bus boat is the way this former Olympic venue is still very much alive. Some might say even more alive than during the events of 2008. So we've taken a boat out here because it's a lovely day, sunny, and we're going to go and see what the harbour's got for us and just generally get a bit of feel, get our sea legs on, which I'm not so sure I'll be able to do. One of the main reasons for the success of the marina is the uptake from children who are keen to learn how to sail. So you can find all sorts of things out here. People wind sailing, there's shops and restaurants, there's buses, water buses, our boat butt just over there. Plenty of things to do out on the sea here in Qingdao. You'll see kids of all ages getting their boats ready on a Saturday morning, hyperactive and eager to get out on the water. We managed to spot children as young as 5 and 6, looking far more professional as sailors than we could ever hope to be. So don't be surprised if Qingdao produces a string of Olympic medalists in the not too distant future. Qingdao has another more peaceful side, besides being a prime holiday destination and weekend getaway. Some cities in the world are totally geared towards the huge source of income that is tourism, but there are people in these parts who just seem to get on with their lives. Stroll around Hebei and you'll see what I mean. Now, the further away you get from the sea, the more you'll be able to take in the everyday lifestyle of the local people. And we're here in Hebei, in the northern part of Qingdao, and immersing myself in a bit of the local traditional culture. Now, that said, if you do miss the sea, don't you worry. They've built well, they turned what used to be just a mud pile canal into an irrigation system with using seawater. So we get the sea breeze, and I'm going to take some of that in now.
Work up an appetite whilst you're out strolling, and you'll be rewarded handsomely. Now, you don't have to have visited the country to know that the Chinese love to eat. Then again, who doesn't? But to Chinese, food is life, health, and good fortune. They live to eat, and China's cuisine is as varied as its geography and people.
So I'm by the lighthouse of this rather astutely constructed concrete harbour. We've got boats, we've got masts, we've got one of these weights here, and on top of that, each of these boats is actually a restaurant in its own deed. So you can have yourself some Sichuan food, some local Qingdao food, all in different places. Now, the pièce de résistance, or the icing on top, is the fact that someone lazy like myself can be having some good bit of Sichuan hot pot. Say I feel like a bit of roast meat from a different restaurant, the pulley system behind will have it delivered straight to me.
Logically, you'd think Qingdao was a place simply for seafood feasts. There's much more here than just the clams, which incidentally, Qingdao is famous for. Known as the cradle of Shandong cuisine, the area around Qingdao is rich in sea cucumbers, squid, prawns, shellfish, as well as numerous fish species. And every spring and autumn, the Jiaozhou Bay area is rich in local shrimp. Located right in the heart of Qingdao, Shebei district, with a population of over 500,000 people, is the city's economic, cultural, financial and commercial centre. It's not a particularly big area, but if you hop from street to street, you'll find something different around every corner. Here we're in the old part of Shebei, which in turn is one of the oldest parts of Qingdao. This ancient commercial area has a relaxed and friendly atmosphere, almost as though you've strolled into a village square. I've been told that back in colonial times, this is where the Chinese residents would come to meet one another. But it doesn't seem to have changed too much over the years. And having seen what the toddlers are up to this morning, it's also a chance to take in the lifestyle of the city's older generation. So out with the old, though not literally of course, and in with the new. In this case, concept. Lots of theme streets.
So when you're strolling around the theme streets in Qingdao, you'll find that they're very closely packed together, which is a good thing, because you get to have the smells emanating from the beer factory, the smell of the hops just drifting over as you walk around. I'm heading into the cultural street, so I've been told I can pick up some trinkets and some sort of cultural relics as well. Now, if you're slightly worried about being ripped off, don't be. Qingdao men are renowned for being straight talking, so if it's fake, they'll tell you so, and you'll get an appropriate deal.
You can find these types of markets all over China, but that shouldn't deter you from trying to hunt down that essential bargain trinket to cherish or give as a great present. Some might be tacky, but others might just earn you a friend for life. Right, enough shopping, it's time for a beer. And in Qingdao, it's undoubtedly the easiest commodity to get your hands on. Besides drinking it, you might want to dive deep into the world of beer. And in that case, the Qingdao Beer Museum and Factory is the place for you. First brewed in 1903 by the beer-loving Germans, Qingdao beer has received tremendous national and international acclaim, thanks to its refreshing taste that owes a lot to the crisp Laoshan spring water. The tour is split into 3 parts, and your first stop will be taking in the history and what brought this beer to such prominence. You'll see a room with every single design of Qingdao beer bottles over the last 100 years. Then you'll move on to a full-scale walk-through tour of the ancient beer-making techniques. Run your hands through the different types of hops used to make beer, and then see how many of the world's beers you can spot in their massive display. From lager frolics back to the real world. Won't take you long to round the corner and be thrust into the heart of the Qingdao beer-making industry. In many ways, it contextualizes perfectly everything you've just witnessed. The old techniques compared to modern efficiency. Not so much of a personal touch, but you'll still be entranced by the thousands of cans and bottles spinning everywhere around you.
Now, whether you're completely, totally teetotal, a raging alcoholic, or have absolutely no opinion whatsoever on the nectar, Qingdao Beer Factory simply has to be visited. It's got something for everybody. We've got how beer was made 100 years ago, all the way through to how beer's made right now. You can even have your own picture stuck on a beer bottle. And there's a room that simulates being drunk. Wonder what that's like. Just to let you know, I really have not drunk a single drop of beer, totally professional, and it's just a room that simulates being drunk, and it really works. Not that I know, of course, but definitely feel a bit funny. Alright, that's enough for me.
Right, it's 5 PM and closing time at the pub. Beer factory. You might have to be dragged out of there as you finish your glass of one of the freshest beers you've ever tasted. But at least there's plenty to see just around the corner. Qianmu Cultural Street is a surreal experience to say the least, but one which every single city planning council should envisage having.
Well, as if Beer Street isn't cool enough, there's a place at the other end called Tianmu Street, and it's this covered market sort of thing here, but it's full of wonderful things. We've got restaurants, bars, tea houses, there's a gym, there's entertainment, all sorts. There's lovely ladies here. Hi. Who are all dressed in traditional clothes. And what else we got? Yeah, tea houses. There's arcades, and places where you can drink. And look at that, face changing.
Formerly two disused factories with a roof added over the top. It's a food, drink, musical, entertainment and visual extravaganza. Open 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. There are hired performers everywhere, and clearly a lot of thought has been put into creating a relaxing atmosphere that appeals to people of all ages and from all ages. Creativity was a key aspect of Qianmu, and this little pocket of arty innovation even has a foreign bookstore to offer.
So we've managed to locate a very nice, quiet little corner in Qingdao, which very much reminds me of the 798 Art District in Beijing. And here, we've also arranged a meet and greet with the owner of a foreign bookstore, because the population, there's a huge number of foreigners here in Qingdao, predominantly Korean and Japanese, I've been told, which makes sense considering how close those countries are to the coast on this side. So let's go and meet.
Women's wedding. For the next 2-3 years, and then depending on how business is going and how, also depending on what, if we found a school.
Who's this little guy? Is this
me and my son.
Is Liam going to be speaking Chinese?
Yes, definitely. How much it was?
Rather surprisingly, this bookstore seems to be as popular with the Chinese as with the foreigners. Come down here if you're looking to buy a brand new bestseller, pick up a bargain second-hand book, or simply improve your English at the many workshops on offer. There's certainly an air of enthusiasm about the place. From books, back to booze. You'll realise when you get to Qingdao that this city lives for beer. We chanced across this little competition, although little is obviously not the word for the glasses. Tonight's show was actually set up to separate the wheat from the chaff, as it were. It's the qualifiers for the annual beer drinking competition that will take place at the Qingdao International Beer Festival in a few weeks' time. Just to give you an idea of what sort of competition you'll be up against, last year's winner managed to down 1 litre of beer in 9 seconds. It takes place between August and September every year and is filled with merry-making activities. Can't make the Oktoberfest in Munich? Fear not. There's an alternative on the east coast of Shandong. Nighttime is not all about beer though, as you'll see when you head to Zhongshan Street and the city centre. It's Qingdao's major shopping thoroughfare, with a wealth of national and international stores and restaurants for you to enjoy late into the night. This is where you'll also find the third demographic. Having seen the kids this morning, the elderly this afternoon, now it's on to the youths. In many ways, this is the area that reminds you that Qingdao is much more than just your average seaside holiday resort. The city centre is bustling, full of people and full of life. It's as cosmopolitan as any city you'll find in China, so you should wait for a second at the top of the escalator that leads onto the street to take in the view. You'll be amazed at the sea of people below you. But in all honesty, the shopping area has little more to recommend it than, well, shops. The other side of the nightlife is inevitably linked to... have you guessed it? Of course, beer! Head back down to Pijiujie, or Beer Street as it's actually known, and you'll be drawn to the neon lights like a moth to a flame. If you're lucky enough to come during the summer months, you'll appreciate the outdoor seating, which is available in every one of the restaurants on this street. However, the real star of the show is the beer. You've tried it unfiltered and fresh from the factory, but now you can appreciate it at your own leisure over some freshly caught seafood. Beer doesn't get much fresher and better than it is on this street. Only once you've tasted it will you see the difference. That said, beware. Once you've gone unfiltered, you may never go back. If you've a half a day to spare, head 40 kilometers east of Qingdao to the famous Taoist retreat of Laoshan. It's the point where Laoshan mineral water, reckoned to be the best in China, starts its life. As one of the original birthplaces of Taoism, the mountain is an important pilgrimage destination. In the past, Taoist priests living on the mountains were conferred with special privileges.
So I've arrived at the entrance of Taiqinggong Temple and been reading up on some of the symbolism here. We've got a bat, which you should rub for good luck. Left hand if you're a man, and right hand, well, I won't do that. Right hand if you're a lady, and that's because the bat, the Chinese for bat is very similar to the Chinese for luck. Here we have the character for longevity, long life, together with some money, so those go very well together.
Tao has the meaning of the way, and Taoism is thought to have been born over 2,000 years ago. Regarded as a philosophical tradition as well as a religion, Taoist practice is based on coming into harmonious alignment with the internal and external terrain. In other words, the human body and things such as the mountains, rivers and forests. It's an ethos of quiet cultivation and respect for nature. The story goes that a philosopher and scholar at the Imperial Archives named Lao Tzu grew weary of the moral decay of city life. However, his views were at odds with those of his king, so he exiled himself. At the last mountain pass before leaving the realm, he struck up a conversation with a border guard who begged to be allowed to record his teachings. Lao Tzu's words are passed down to us today in the Tao Te Ching, or the Book of the Way. Although only a slim volume of 5,000 characters, this little book has made an indelible mark on history.
It's said that Taoism is the only homegrown Chinese religion, with Buddhism being imported from India and Confucianism being more of a philosophy. And here in Laoshan, we're at the original place, or one of the original places, where the religion flourished.
Laoshan Mountain is associated with Taoist legend and myth, and there's a well-known story written by Pu Congling in his famous supernatural short story book, Strange Tales from a Chinese Studio. A young Taoist scholar searching for immortality called Wang Qi travelled to Mount Laoshan to learn off an immortal priest who was adept at Taoist magic. After many months of hardship, Wang, however, gave up learning off the priest. But before he left, he begged the priest to teach him just the tiniest bit of magic, so all the months he'd spent there wouldn't be for nothing. He was taught how to walk through walls, but the priest cautioned him not to misuse the skill, or it wouldn't work. As you can probably guess, as soon as he got home, he boasted about it to his wife, and promptly ran straight into a rock-hard wall. No magic there. The setting for the palace is quite idyllic, and there are actually paths up to the summit of Laoshan. You can hike there if you're feeling energetic, but don't worry if you're more of a "of course I could if I wanted to" kind of person, as a cable car will also whisk you right to the top. Once at the peak, do be wary of the extremely high winds. We were warned that visitors had been known to be blown right off the mountain and into the sea. Don't say we didn't warn you. In any case, once at the top, you'll get a really good impression of what the whole world now refers to as feng shui. Feng shui means wind and water, so it's obvious why its powers are said to be so powerful on Laoshan. Feng shui has been used for thousands of years in China and the Far East as a method of determining the best or most appropriate locations for leading a harmonious life. In layman's terms, it's basically the best places to stick your stuff if you're looking for a bit of good luck.
Perfect place for a quick break and a perfect chance to see the lucky feng shui that the temple has down on my right. In front of it, it has the sea, to the right a dragon-shaped mountain, and to the left a mountain shaped in the head of a tiger. All very good meanings, but break time's over.
All in all, Laoshan is a must-see when you make it down to this part of Shandong. You've got the sea and the mountains all wrapped up in one. The best time to visit the mountain is probably from early June to September, when the average temperature will be around 20 to 28 centigrade, and there are fewer clouds to obstruct the incredible views. But whether you're in Laoshan or Qingdao, you'll be able to take in the sea breeze all around you. Anyway, time to head back into town.
The bit I hate the most as the sun sets on Qingdao, and unfortunately our programme also for today. Now, as well as being a fantastic summer seaside holiday resort, there's a lot more to this place, both historically and culturally. And if anything else, they brew a top-notch beer. I'm Mark Edwards, and I'll catch you very soon on another episode of Travelogue.